All right, it hang in there. It hung in there this time. Is it good with you?
I don't see you anymore, but that's okay.
Maybe I can. I don't know. I see you.
Yeah. Right. You see me, but I don't see you. But that's fine. We'll just do it that way. That's cool.
All right, man. Welcome you to Porch Talk. This is your host, Alan. This is a Skype call out to the great state of Texas. I got Frenchie
Howdy.
here with me. Um, how are things in Texas, man? What's going on?
In Texas, everything's good. Just good old Texas, staying true to itself. Cowboys and hipsters and I don't know.
Rock and roll.
uh, here, here in Fort Worth, it's just a great mix of people. I love it. This town is a lot of things are happening here, so um, you know, don't got time to get bored. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But um,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I wanted to open up with this. How long had it been since you had went back to France?
it'd been almost 3 years.
And was this trip delayed because of the pandemic, or was it just the first time that you were ready to go back, or what was that like?
It was all because of the restrictions that they put in place for a long time, um, and then I ended up getting super busy into 2021 into 2022. And once the year starts, it's hard for me to go like summertime or whatever, because that's when you play all your shows, right? So I usually, for me, the easiest way is to go for Christmas or around Christmas. So that's what happened, yeah. And then that finally kind of reopened everything, so I was able to go home safely and um, not having to show any kind of status, if you know what I mean. Uh, so that was the reason why, and so I decided that I would go spend a little bit of time. Usually, I go for like 3 weeks to a month, basically meaning the whole this month of December. But I realized I was born at the end of October, October 25th. My mom was born November 2nd, and I realized that since I've come to America, I haven't spent one birthday with neither parents, like their birthdays.
Yeah.
My dad is in July, but my mom is in November, and I figured, man, I haven't spent time with my mom on her birthday in 23, 24 years now.
Hmm.
So, so I left at the end of October to be there for my birthday, and I came back a month ago, January 14th. So I was there for 2.5 months.
Right on, man. So when you go back, what are some of the hot topic issues people want to talk about? Is like how you hit it off in music, or just life in America? What do they want to ask you about?
Well, man, I mostly spend time with my folks. My mom still works. My dad is retired, so we'll just basically just kind of hang out with my dad and my mom, and I've seen some friends. I ended up playing shows while I was there.
Hmm.
Actually, turned out really good. I put a little band together with all friends of mine because somehow I don't know what's in the water where I'm from, but there's just a bunch of good musicians there, especially guitar players for some reason. But anyway, so I was able to put a good little band together. Played a couple of shows, 3 shows. Um, Two happened to be sold out, which is kind of cool, especially
Yeah.
for I hadn't played in my hometown or in France in general in 15 years.
Yeah.
So that's my first time playing in 15 years back home in my hometown. Um, so if you talk about subjects, hot topics, meaning like societal topics and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Um, so my dad and I would talk a lot about geopolitics and all that.
Of
Um,
course, that's on everybody's mind, right?
yeah, he was always like that. I come from like a political family anyway, so I kind of grew up around it. So I haven't gotten into all that stuff in recent years. It's just kind of I was always kind of there anyway. So my dad will mostly talk about what's going on over there in France, and I'll
Hmm.
mostly talk about what's going on over here.
Hmm.
Somehow it's a little bit interconnected. I think there's a lot of things that we have in common, both countries, as far as what's going on in the world. But we try to not, spend every day being redundant over all that. So we love music. So we talked a lot about music as well. I play guitar every day. Mm, and in the end, well, we do Skype all year round. We Skype a couple
Right.
times a week. So when I saw them, it's not like I had to catch up on 3 years of not seeing them or talking to them. It's just kind of just spend the time and just kind of check out from my life here and just be with them. And it was for me, but it was also for them, so they can have their child home for a little bit.
Right.
Because any mother, uh they think their child don't eat once they leave the house, right? So my mom
Ain't
did.
that real?
What I'm saying, right? So my mom, like, had
Oh,
to
dude.
feed me. She had to catch up on 3 years of me not eating.
Had to pack some pounds on you, buddy.
Oh my god! Well, I didn't somehow. I don't know how, because I ate shit ton of cheese and bread and charcuterie and drank some wine. So I don't know how. I don't know what the deal is, but
Well, I'm telling you, like, a lot of people say, when a foreigner will come to America for any amount of time, they pack on a lot of pounds because of all the things that we put in our food, such as preservatives and the GMOs.
oh,
And
that's
then
totally what it is. Yeah.
when you're anywhere else in the world, you can literally eat the same and lose weight. It's crazy.
It's totally what they put in the food here. We're totally screwed here. It's amazing. Well, we do walk a lot, like in my hometown, you just go for a walk. That's People do walk, it's not, the distance is a difference. I mean, here, if I had any friends home asking me what I like, in Texas, and how things are, the one thing that I did mention is you have to have a car. You cannot live a normal life if you don't have a vehicle, right? So
Yeah.
um but yeah, it was a good trip. I was kind of ready to get back here after 2 months, just because it's not really the easiest situation to where you like do everything at once. Like, you live here, I live here, right now in Texas. Anyway, do the things you do, and then you stop everything for 2 months
Hmm.
to be part of a complete different culture. I wasn't going to go there and then compare everything to the States every day on a daily basis. I'll just shut up and just be part of it. So even though I'm from there, I still got the accent. I am very much American,
Hmm.
very much Americanized. So there are little things that might just, after a while, get on my nerves. But I just got to remind myself I'm not from here anymore. So just be patient, have the best time possible, and do not go around and be arrogant about the fact that you're American and they're not. you
and
know
I do love the American flag background, bub.
yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Oh
um
man, you mentioned at the beginning like there was just something in the water, like there was just a great pool of guitar players. Has it always been that way in your hometown?
I think so. Well, I mean, if we go back to the birth of rock and roll, there have been great bands coming from. Nobody has ever done really anything but local musicians, but there was always some really good musicians. But I mean, the French are very musical, and it's still like one of the few countries that adore jazz and blues, and still have like big blues festivals, jazz and blues
Hmm.
festivals. My hometown had a big one. My dad showed me a photo recently. I'll send it to you if you want. It's an actual official photo, and his buddy guy in 1983 in the arena.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I'd love to see it.
yeah, it's like in the old Colosseum, the old Roman arena.
Hmm.
And it's my dad and my uncle, like, at Buddy Guy's feet, with their
Yeah.
fist in the air, and while Buddy Guy is ripping a solo. That's the era when he used to play a Guild Hollow Body. That's the Buddy Guy, he had the curls and everything. That's
Oh
the
yeah.
Buddy Guy, that's the photo. And so anyway, so I think it's just kind of in the culture. And I think also the thing is about it is that when it comes to just playing an instrument, I think that's just probably easier. I always like to say that guitar don't have an accent. So
Yeah.
so
Very true.
so so that's why, because when I go there and I do sing, obviously I sing in English, and whatever I write, it's well written. Um, and I have the cultural references of being here, have been here for a long time. And so, because a friend of mine plays bass that I played those shows with, he sang a couple of songs, and he's told me, he goes, because I'm just let you know, no, it's all in French, of course. He goes, I let you know, I don't know the lyrics, so I don't know what I'm singing. And I said, that's fine. Nobody's going to care here. But if you were to come to the States and try to sing, people be like, what is he singing about? That is not that is not English. Phonetically sounds like English, but it's not. And it's
Yeah.
kind of what happened to me, because when I started out, I was just a guitar player. I became a singer and a writer living here in the States, over here in the States, and so I grew up listening to all those records, but I was never paying attention to the lyrics. I was always paying attention to the melodies and the sounds. So I think we might have a more acute ear for the melodies and the sounds that we do for the lyrics. And I think that's what might explain that there is some pretty good guitar players, because they're not distracted by anything else and they just focus on the guitar. But
Yeah, and dude, shout out to you to the your Frenchie and the Blues Destroyers, the album with the skull on it.
yeah,
I have been spending so much time with that, and it's back and forth with me. But my favorite song on that record, as it stands today, is "Never Meant to Hurt You."
never meant to hurt you. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, man, it's crazy you put it that way. Like the phonetic and like learning songwriting. Would it be like Shooter Jennings and people learn helping you craft your songwriting in that regard, or did you kind of find it as you went?
Back when I played with Shooter, that was like the very, very beginning. You're talking, fresh off the boat. And I was writing with him. I was writing guitar riffs, and he was kind of taking care of the lyrics. But that's when I started discovering some of the country classics. Obviously, his dad's music, and I got to meet Waylon, and I was around, him a little bit the year before he passed, and so I got introduced to all those greats, and then that kind of started influencing me on top of the blues background and rock and roll background that I had. Then I played with some cool cats like Stoney LaRue, guy like Wade Bowen here in Texas, and then Jack Ingram for a long time. And so, especially with Jack, I think when I started playing with Jack, I was like 27 when I started playing with him. So at that time, I was kind of understanding the concept of sitting down and writing a song. So I watched him. We would have some great, great, great artists coming on the road with us, just so they can write and do all that. I was living in Nashville at the time, so I had access to firsthand to being around great writers, and so naturally, I think that just kind of got me started, because I saw how it all worked, and I was able to just kind of grab my own sensibilities towards music and do my own thing with it. Because I always relate to the blues first and foremost, even though I'm not a blues guy. I do base everything off of that. So I was never going to pretend to write a country song. I don't know how to do that. But then again, you have guys like Guy Clark and Towns Van Zandt, Texans, that wrote songs that were very much on the blues spectrum, very much.
That's right.
So I just think it's just kind of, I think it's circumstantial. I think it's just the experiences that I've had and the people that I played with. Like my friend Stoney LaRue, I'm sure you're familiar with him. Maybe.
Yeah, I think I am.
Yeah, Stoney's a good friend of mine. I actually played with him last Saturday. I sat in with the band. I didn't have a show, so I went and hang out with them. And I love his style of writing. So you just kind of pick from everybody, but also grew up on an extensive record collection at home, and I love lining up Kings, but I love the Kinks. I love Men's Lipscomb, but I love the Beatles. I love Albert King, but I love the Doors.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you've kind of mentioned it, like in our previous podcast episode about coming to America. And it's a very inspiring story about chasing your American dream. Just for those at home listening, I mean, what encouragement do you offer? Like, just get off your ass and go give it a go, right? Or what would you say to those who want to pursue a career in music or whatever they're driven by?
I'd say don't try to look at it as a career.
Okay. Take it a day at a time.
Yeah, just don't try to think, all right, well, this is my 10-year plan. If I don't see myself there, in 10 years, then I failed, so I'll do something else. Just don't do that. Just if you have something to say, if you have a passion for it, just go out and do it. I think the music business is changing ever so fast that, what's now a way to do it won't be the same 2 years, even 2 years from now. Things are going pretty fast. A lot of people do, and a lot of people are doing it as well. And I think that's in general. I think people are a little too focused on the grind or the hustle, on the money, and we all need money to get by. But I think too many people think that money equals success. It's nothing to be without it, but sometimes how much do you need to have a good life? Some of the best times I've ever had is when I was broke. Not because I was broke, but because I was not worried about it. I was worried about the passion that I had and what was the next move, and I'm still going through it right now as we speak. I'm going through what is the next move. So, I think that would be the only advice. Yeah, just don't look at it as a career. Look at it as your passion, and you'll do it no matter what, and that should be good enough.
One thing that's been kind of reoccurring with some of the musicians I've had on the show as of late is they say if you're going to stake your claim, you got to be on the road. You need to be, as much as possible, getting into these towns, and don't just take a gig just cause. Make sure, like, if you're a singer-songwriter, try to get a listening room in that town. Don't just play in a restaurant to where you're going to be background noise. But, pick the gigs out that are curated towards what you're trying to do.
That's true. It's not easy to do. Not easy to do because even with a guy like me that has a resume, history, that doesn't mean you're going to get those listening rooms. And then how do you get people in? And then you got to think about making money as well. And you can do house parties. That's always a good way to do it. If you can hit people up on Facebook and stuff and see if you go through a town. Yeah. So I don't think there is one way to do it for anybody and everybody. It's different depending the regions that you're living in, and I don't know. And truth is, some people, I don't think talent is everything anyway, as far as success. Right. Getting to the next, the next step, next move.
Yeah, it's almost you're in the right spot at the right time kind of thing for some people.
Yeah, I know some legit blues people that still play breweries and stuff.
Yeah.
I played a restaurant last night. It was cool.
Yeah.
I talked to some cool folks and stuff. But you got to think also. It's what I noticed. I don't know in other parts of the country, but I know in Texas, the market is big, it's saturated with a lot of people. And then you get new people coming in, and then it's just a lot of people, especially in the singer-songwriter realm, which I don't really consider myself that. I think we might have talked about it last time, that I still kind of cringe at the idea of calling myself a singer-songwriter. I'm a guitar player by trade and I write songs, but I'm a guitar picker, and so there's just a lot of people, and there's so many gigs you can do, as well. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I think everybody just kind of follow their own trail, and
see what comes of it. I wanted to move on because I had been on this cross Canadian ragweed kick.
Oh yeah.
And buddy, I want some stories from the Wormy Dog Saloon, man. Give me a story.
Problem is with the Wormy Dog, there was always a lot of booze involved.
Sounds about right.
Well, that place doesn't exist anymore, right?
I know.
Shut her down. I was still living in Oklahoma. Remember I told you last time that I lived in Oklahoma City for a while, and so right after I left, they shut it down. But the only story that I can remember is it was Wade Bowen, Stoney, and Django Walker, Jerry Jeff's kid. We were doing this little tour called Farewell to Sanity, and we stopped at Wormy Dog on our stop in Oklahoma City. And those were always late nights, and I was playing and with Wade, then ended up playing every night with Stoney as well, and every night with
Mm-hmm.
Django. So I was the one guitar player that played for 3 bands, right? um I think that night, I think I may have just, it was like, after hours kind of deal, but just kind of drinking and partying, and I think I went and crashed in Wade's van because I had a little too much in there. And I got woken up by the van being rocked. Like, I don't know what happened. It was, what's going on? I got like thrown off my seat, and then some drunk dude, I guess, left the bar and hit the van, Wade's van, with his truck, and
Oh man.
fled the scene. So I went and run back in, and I'm like, dude, you won't believe it. Somebody just hit the van. And anyway, so that's the only story that I remember from Warmy Dog. But it was a good little scene back then, with all those guys, Jason Boland as well, and of course Ragweed. I have some cool stories with Ragweed. Uh,
Oh, dude, I'd love to hear it. Let's turn this into a ragweed conversation for a minute.
well, so Ragweed, they were a good friend of ours when I played with Shooter and the band Stargan, right?
Uh-huh.
And we toured through Texas, and we opened up for Ragweed, and they wanted to come to California, so they came out and they stayed at our house, and they opened up for us at the Viper Room. I remember that, and they were so broke that we were like literally giving him cigarettes, and they couldn't even afford cigarettes, right? And anyway, so we had a good relationship, and when I left LA for Texas, first time to go play with Wade, I'd had that reputation already by playing with Shooter and all that. And
Uh-huh.
so whenever I could, I would go see Ragweed, and I will always get up and play a couple of songs with them at the end of their show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then one time it was in Dallas. Um, it was Ragweed and Pat Green playing some amphitheater here in Dallas. There's about 6,000 people there that night. And
Oh wow.
to me, it was a lot of people because I was used to play clubs, and that was it. And
Right.
so I was pretty excited. I was kind of excited. It will be my biggest crowd to date at the time. I was like 22, and it's just, wow, this is cool. And so I'm backstage. We got my guitar and had my amp on stage ready for what I thought would be just a couple songs at the end of the set. And Cody comes up to me, Cody Canada, and Cody
Mm-hmm.
goes, "Here's your set list for tonight." I, I look at him. I go, "What?" He goes, "Yeah. Do you think I'm just gonna let you, sit your ass the entire night? You're coming with us. I mean, you're playing with us the whole show, right?" And, like, so all of a sudden, like, I felt the pressure. I'm like, "Oh shit," because I, if you go play we used to play Stranglehold, Ted Nugent and a couple of other songs like that, so that's easy. You just go jam a couple covers, it's fine, but then next thing you know, they're asking me to play the entire set and all the songs and stuff, and
Right.
I knew them, but I never played them, so I was just like, fuck. All right, well, okay. So I played it cool, and I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh Jesus, man, I want to be in front of 6,000 people playing. And at the time they were really hot. I mean, they were the band in Texas, and um, so we play, and it goes well. It's fun,
Yeah.
and I'm in the middle of my guitar solo, and I tend to close my eyes when I play guitar solos.
Mm-hmm.
Ingram's always asked me, he goes, "Why'd you close your eyes when you play?" And I go, "Because I get into it, man. I don't know. Why do you got your eyes open when you play a solo? I don't know, right? It's kind of weird."
Yeah.
And
Where do you go?
yeah, well, why you got your eyes open? What's wrong with you, right? Gotta get in music, man. And so anyway, so I'm playing this guitar solo. Next thing you know, I feel something going between my legs, and I don't know what's going on because I'm in the moment, and it's Cody's head going through my between my legs.
He's about to put you up.
Yeah. And next thing you know, I'm on Cody's shoulders, just ripping a guitar solo. While he's ripping a guitar solo, we're doing like Joe guitar solo, and here I am on Cody's shoulders in front of 6,000 people, everybody going crazy, and that was quite a night.
Yeah.
That was and those were my there was like early days for me in Texas, and this kind of stuff I was doing, so it was pretty sweet. It was good memories.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So
So, like, to wind it up to today is like, since you've set it out on your own, like, have you had some of those kind of moments since you kind of staked out?
you mean as a solo artist?
Yeah.
Um, I've done some cool things. few openers, a few festivals. Mostly it's been clubs and dives, but trying to think if there's anything that kind of. Oh, my memory is terrible. I can't.
Yeah. A rock and roller from Texas here, man. Come on.
I'm try, I'm trying to think.
Can't be that good.
Well, did play at Green Hall before down in New Braunfels. Outside. So played for a sold out crowd. At Green, doing my thing is pretty cool. Um, what else? Yeah, man. Actually, it's kind of the. Uh, I remember that's something I did on my own. But when I left Oklahoma, I left Oklahoma and had gone through a breakup. It was a really hard breakup for me, and it's pretty much not feeling great about it. Pretty heartbroken. And came down to Texas from OKC down on I-35 and down in Fort Worth, and I was like, man, still too close. Still too close. I gotta go. I gotta go far.
Mm-hmm.
Go like on a pilgrimage. So I set my eyes to go and check out Cogsdale in Mississippi.
Hey, come on with it.
Yeah. So I remember that, and that's something I did on my own. That that was a highlight for me because of the circumstances. So I made my way to Clarksdale and I booked a room for a couple of days at a place called the Shack Up Inn in Clarksdale.
Yep.
And but I didn't know anything, so I just found the place. It looked cool, and I said I'm gonna go stay there for a couple of days and go around. So what I did is that I realized that they had shows at the Shack Up Inn, that they had actual music.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I realized about Clarksdale. It's about music just about everywhere. It's pretty cool for that.
Uh huh.
And so I contacted them and I told them who I was, what I was doing, so to make sure that I wasn't just anybody, right? And and they said, "Well, we're interested. We can have you play in exchange for playing. Well, you have a free room that night." I said, "Sounds great. Well, we'll do that." So I was on my way to Clarksdale, knowing that I'd play at the Shakopee. And as soon as I got to town, I went to see Dick Harp, who's a fantastic artist that also builds harmonicas and has a little shop there,
Yep.
right off on Delta Avenue, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he's left-handed, southpaw, just like me. So we
Same
chatted
here,
for,
bub.
yeah, man, right, yeah. And so we picked a little bit, let me play his guitar, and so my show, the Shakopee, was the next night, and he goes, "Well, I'm playing at Ground Zero
Yeah.
later that night, so why don't you come out and you'll sit in with us?" I said, "That
Yeah.
sounds great." So I played at the Shakopee for happy hour, and then made my way to Ground Zero to play. And Shakopee, I did really well. There was a lot of tourists that weekend, so I had a bunch of tourists. I made great on tips, which paid for my trip basically. Um, and everybody that was at the Shakopee was going to see Dick Harp at Ground Zero later. So they saw me play doing my songs, and then they saw me play with Deke in his band the all night later on, and the feedback was fantastic. Kind of helped me heal a little bit, and I remember driving back from Cogsdale back to Texas, thinking that it was a pretty successful trip, and seeing myself by myself on the road, singing my songs, and
Mm-hmm.
getting the kind of feedback I did was very inspiring to keep going. And that was before I made the Blues Destroyers album and all that. So that was really cool. And after that, I kept going to Clarksdale. I've gone like a handful of times, and I'll be there next month.
Dude, please let me know. I want to be there for that, buddy. I'd like to meet you in person and be there for the show.
It's March 7th. It's a Tuesday, it's a weekday, but it's March 7th at Handbone Gallery, and that's my good friend Stan Street that owns the place. Um,
Oh,
and
dude, send me some media. I mean, I've got a lot of friends in that area, and I'd love to pack the house out that night.
Yeah, I'll send you all the info, and I'm still trying to see about playing Ground Zero maybe the next day or so. But I want to stay in Cogsdale for a few days. I'll be in Greenville, Mississippi the weekend before.
Nice.
I got some friends there. There's a wedding going on. I found this juke joint that I'm going to play at, and we're going to have a party bus to come and see me. So I think the owner
Why?
is pretty.
While you're in Mississippi, even if there's nothing going on. you should slide down to Bentonia
Bentonia.
to the
Yeah.
Blue Front Cafe and go meet Jimmy Duck Holmes.
I'm thinking about doing it on that Sunday because I'll be have the day off in Greenville, and I think it's not too far from Greenville as well.
It's not.
So yeah, so I think I might do Blue Front on that Sunday, and then make my way to Clarksdale on Monday and stay there for 3-4 days. Because at the end of the day, I mean, I know it's it's not happening yet, but and kind of talking about it is I don't want to jinx it, but I'm gonna be looking around Clarksdale to see if I might make a move or not.
Yeah. What do you make of Mississippi? I mean, is there just something in the air?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there is, and I mean, I don't know. I don't want to sound like I'm more real than other people, but the way I did Mississippi, I think that you know, well, if you know the history, just like I do, you know damn well why the blues was born there. But other than that, there's just something in the air. It's like it's thick, and you can feel why the blues, comes from Mississippi, and but yeah, I kind of fell in love with Mississippi, and I kind of joke about it because you know how Texas is very successful. Well, Texas is very successful. Everybody is moving here.
That's
Everybody.
right. That's right.
So good, right? But it's
If they
also
ain't keeping it weird in Austin, they're going to Dallas or Houston.
I don't think they're keeping it weird. I think they're keeping it corporate now because you got Amazon, Tesla, and everything. So
Yeah.
it's a different thing, man. It's just
Joe
not like it
Rogan's out
used.
there. It ain't what it used
Yeah,
to be.
and I love Joe Rogan, but he's got to shut his mouth about telling how great Austin is.
Yeah, like we're supposed to keep
So,
that low key.
well,
We
that's
had
kind of
we had
yeah.
Austin city limits, and too many people figured that out.
Well, that's kind of the point. I mean, that's kind of the point. I get it. You want to tell the world how great your state is, but if you keep saying it, eventually people are going to find out, and then everybody moves. And I can't say anything. I'm not from Texas. Hell, I'm not even from America to begin with, so I don't really have room to tell someone not to come here. I'm not going to be those guys, that wear that "Don't
Yeah,
California My Texas" T-shirt.
yeah.
Though I could, that would be kind of funny. But I started out in California, so I'm not going to talk shit about California. Um, but
But dude,
Mississippi.
that's how I feel about Alabama. Like
Oh yeah.
anytime I get to talking about how good the Birmingham music scene is, all the Birmingham musicians are like, shh,
Shut
cut
it.
that out. Cut that
Don't
out.
say
No,
anything
don't.
about it.
Yeah, we got a good thing. Don't ruin it.
Yeah, but it's funny because I think Mississippi is kind of like that, which I mean, obviously outside of Mississippi, and especially people that have never traveled, they might have a take on what Mississippi is because of its history, but if you go there, it's just a lot of hidden gems and a lot of cool places, and the people are sweet, and it's really it's kind of it's a really nice place, and I think I don't know. Mississippi is not out there telling the world too much about how great they are. I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but
I think maybe it is.
but I mean, it's kind of one of those things. It's like like a little secret, like a little secret
Yeah.
garden that you go if you know, and you'll go and you enjoy it. But other than that, you kind of have to. It's kind of what I like. It's kind of you have to kind of go and see for yourself and put the time and energy. I mean, I was talking to my friend Stan that owns a Hambone Gallery,
Uh-huh.
and I was telling him about me contemplating moving to Clarksdale. And it might be Clarksdale.
Dude, I would love that. That might help me with my contemplation of moving.
Well, but you see, so that's the thing, right? And he told me, he goes, well, if you moved here, it'll be great. We can use a guy like you to be around and pick guitar with. And I love everybody that I've met so far down there. They're all great people and great music, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's kind of why I'm going there as well. It's kind of check it out again, even though I kind of know the place. I just want to kind of get the vibe, and so that's where it's at right now. And this is one of the things that I thought about when I was home in France. I was for 2.5 months taking a break. You
Mm-hmm.
can kind of, wrap your head around what you want to do, what you don't want to do anymore, and just not be afraid uh, of change, because it's never really it's not starting from ground up. It's just continuation of your own personal history anyway. So I don't think I mean, I wouldn't go to Clarksdale and never leave the city limits. I would play all over Mississippi. I could come to Alabama. You're not far from Tennessee, so I still have a lot of connections out there.
Well,
Louisiana.
I'll tell you a little secret, Frenchie. Is
Uh
that blues circuit?
Yeah.
It starts in Clarkville and Greenwood and Bentonia,
Yeah.
And there's a great circuit, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi. You can
Oh,
run that circuit and you'll never run out of gas, buddy.
I know. I know. I'm familiar. I'm familiar with a lot of it, and I have some friends in Oxford. Um, my buddy Brian Sherwood and Joe Austin. They have a band together. They
Are you
uh,
familiar with a Foxfire Ranch?
Foxfire. No, I do not. Is it in Oxford?
It's just outside of Oxford.
Okay.
Uh, so many great, and it's one of those things. It's one of those gyms, like a secret garden, like what you're talking about.
Right.
It's like if you know, you know.
Right.
They do shows every weekend,
Yeah.
but it's the same crowd showing up because they don't advertise it. They don't have to. They have the
Oh, yeah.
clientele.
That's right. You got the clientele, and it's up to you to find out for yourself and go and if you go and make the effort to find out what they're about, they'll love you. I know
Mm-hmm.
that. And this is kind
Mm-hmm.
of the spirit. This is a spirit that I like. And don't get me wrong, Texas is awesome. I love it, and people are the same way with me here, and I love my people here. I personally think it's about time for me to kind of change sceneries a little bit. And,
It's a chapter
you
coming to a close.
know, yeah, yeah, more turning the page. Probably not closing a chapter for good. I mean, I've always come to Texas no matter what. It's kind of, if I wasn't French, I think I would have been Texan, meaning that, over the years, wherever I've lived, Texas was always what I considered basically home base anyway,
Mm-hmm.
So I think if I do make the move, which is looking very much like it, to Mississippi, I think I always think of myself as kind of part Texan anyway down the line, and
Yeah, dude.
uh, then always come back to. I mean, it's not far. Well, it's an 8-hour drive from Clarksdale to Fort Worth. It's to us musicians, 8 hours is nothing.
That's right. That's
I
right.
mean, to a French person that's never left France, you tell them it's 8 hours. It's like going to three different countries and three different languages and cultures and stuff. But for us here, is nothing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a total shock, right?
Yeah, when I talk to some friends of mine, they ask me stories and it's just talking about all those long drives and everything. They kind of look at you like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, this is crazy. And I'm like, well,
We walk
that's what we
everywhere.
do. Yeah. Right. And that's what we do here. You just got to be, and that's kind of that's kind of the culture. I mean, very much in American culture, that's, people move around a lot. People have lived in many states over their lifespan. They just lived in different states, and depending
Well,
on what career opportunities they have,
mm-hmm.
or just
Well,
kind of,
Frenchie, I think at the heart of the American spirit is this is what I believe that
yeah.
the American spirit is a very transient spirit.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that was meant to move around. It can't be put in a box like the highway, the American muscle, the car, the truck, music. I mean, that is America is all get out, you know.
Oh, I know. And I was fed that culture growing up. I was fed that stuff through
Mm-hmm.
music, magazines, television, movies, and that's why I came here in the first place. Is for the open roads. Is for the music.
That's right.
Uh,
It's that
uh,
spark of freedom.
yep, and even more so nowadays. I think it's just kind of longing for that life rather than just having to worry about everything else. Really, things you
I
cannot
mean,
change at this point. But
even in my songwriting lately, one of the latest songs that I wrote and I've been playing out, hosting these open mics or playing these shows, it's like one of my favorite taglines in the song is,
mm-hmm.
"What say you to adventure?" Well, that's a life on the open road,
Right,
and I mean that is the expression of this American life to me.
yeah.
And let's get out there, let's get it. I mean, we're not going to do this sitting inside these four walls. We have got to go.
Now a lot of people they found themselves not being able to do so. I mean, a lot of people have to keep their
Mm-hmm.
jobs and take care
Mm-hmm.
of their families and stuff. And so if there are people like you or me that have the opportunities to do so, then we have to do it, because then why doing anything at all then? Why living life if you're not going to take the opportunity to do to live that kind of life? And
Mm-hmm.
because not everybody can. So if we can do it, then we have a duty to do it for the ones that can't do it. and you make people ask you about it. People are curious about it. It's like, oh, you've been where? You've done what? You know, I mean, if it hadn't been for music, I'd never done all the things I did. I mean, that would have cost $1 million to go to all the places that I've gone to.
Yeah.
Over the years, and the things I got to experience. So the guitar was the tool of communication. It's beyond a career. It's just really a tool of communication. So it's kind of what you're asking me. Like, if I had to give an advice, it's like just really that. I mean, music is really just another language extra language that you have, universal language that you can have at your advantage to just experience cool things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I really can't think of a better way to put it. I think we're approaching a good close for this. Frenchie, dude, less than a month. I plan to be seeing you live and in person in Clarksville. I got 3 questions to walk it out of the door.
Okay.
Question 1 is tell the listeners where they can find and support you on social media and find your music.
Okay, well, that's easy. You can go to Guitar Frenchie, and it's either the Guitar Frenchie Facebook page or Instagram page. And then I've got a link tree that's also Guitar Frenchie, and it's a one-stop shop with all the albums, biography, concerts, all that. So if you go to either Facebook or Instagram, you can click on the bio, and you get that one-stop shop link with everything on it.
Right on.
That's easy.
Question 2 is if you could play any venue in America or just in the world, where would that venue be and why? What venue means the most to you?
Oh boy. Well, I played quite a few that I've always wanted to play. Some of them early on.
You've already knocked them out, huh?
I kind of did. I mean, shit. I don't want to vent or nothing, but as a rock and roller, with the Whiskey A Go Go was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I also got to play the old CBGB before they shut down, the original location in New York. So as a rock and roll, those were cool places. I got to play Red Rocks. That was probably the most beautiful.
That venue comes up a lot, my friend.
Yeah, that's probably the most beautiful scenic venue in America.
Did you get a little piece of the rock?
No. Are you supposed to do that?
I have no idea what you're supposed to do there. I'm just asking.
No, I just got drunk and took it all in. That's what I remember I did. I drank some wine and played my show and then listened to the other bands. It's like a big festival. But I think that probably has to be the most beautiful venue, if not in the world, at least in America. So I would say a Green Hall here in Texas. That's one of my favorite venues to play. And then, not to sound cliche, but my favorite venue is the venue that I have yet to play. So that can be any venue, but it will be the one I have yet to play. So no particular venue that comes to mind right now. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last question, walking out of the door. What are you working on right now with your music?
I recently went through my phone, as well as so many notebooks that I had in a box.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent the past month, since I've been back from France, going through everything, rewriting a bunch of the old stuff that I had with more of the experience that I have now. So there were old lyrics, there were newer lyrics, and I didn't want to think about turning them into songs, but more prose. So it didn't matter if they're going to end up being a song one day or not. I just wanted to really just kind of finish some of the lyrics that I had, and I had a lot of them, as you can imagine, and collect all of them into one volume. So I got like this big notebook full of finished lyrics. A lot of them are songs. Some of them have yet to be decided whether or not they're going to turn into a song or not. So I'm not particularly writing songs right now. I have a lot that I wrote the past year and a half, 2 years that have yet to be recorded. I re-released some old songs that were not available on the internet. I re-released them last year before I left for France, including some songs that I did with this producer named David Z, who produced Prince, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, Johnny Lang, and I did some killer sessions with him back in Nashville before I left town, and that was not out. And I was wondering why it wasn't out. So like, why am I not putting this out? Because you always think, well, it's not news. Those are old songs. So, but virtually nobody knows my music. So to anyone, that's going to be new anyway.
Right.
And they're really good songs. So that's re-released under Guitar Frenchie and everything. And since pretty much the concept of Bruce Destroyers is not going to be a concept anymore, really.
Well, send me some new tunes, man. Tell me.
I'll send them to you.
Tell me what I need to plug for this episode.
I'm saving the newer songs for when it's the right time to record them, but I'm not in a hurry because there's enough music out for people to discover. What's more important right now is to kind of figure out the road and where to go next and how to set that up. So,
all right,
yeah, that's where it's at.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, Frenchie, thank you so much for your time,
dude.
This has been another episode of Porch Talk.
It was great.
Any last words, bud?
Just do what you want and be good to each other, and just live your life at the fullest.
Live it, man.
It's good talking to you. So, well, I'll see you in Mississippi, right?
Yes, you most certainly will. Wouldn't miss it for the world.
That's awesome. I cannot wait.